The very term honour killing has a sinister but misleading ring to it. The murder of a woman or child by a father, brother or uncle for bringing perceived shame on the family. There is nothing misleading about these numbers. The UN estimates some 5,000 honour killings every year. Often the crimes go unreported, especially in Pakistan. Our Foreign Affairs Correspondent Jonathan Rugman has been talking to one man who's seeking justice after the murder of his young wife and children, and a warning: you will find some of the details in this report distressing.
Ehtisham ul-Haq is going back to the home he has avoided for almost a year. To the house where he lived with his wife and 2 children. The walk up the stairs is agonizingly hard, because inside, and stacked on a single shelf, is all that is left of his family. Ehtisham finds his children's blankets, his wife's handbag, her pots and pans covered in dust. Her name was Nargis. They had fallen in love after he had given her a ride in his taxi, and they were blissfully happy until she was found dead in a field, stabbed, shot, beaten and strangled. Their son's anorak is wrapped in the shawl his wife left behind. Their children were killed first, and there's a simple dignity now in doing up their buttons. The buttons of a 4-year-old boy and a baby girl who were thrown from the roof of a building while their mother was forced to watch.
जब भी मैं आता था तो जब मैं दरवाज़ा पहुंच के टक टक करता था तो उसकी वालिदा जो नरगिस थी वो दरवाज़ा खोलती तो शायान यूं मेरे गोद पे आ जाता, और अलीशा जो था ना वो यूं मतलब चल तो नहीं सकती थी, लेकिन इसी तरह घसीट घसीट के मेरे पैरों के पकड़ के कड़ी होती थी, फिर मैं उसको गोद में उठा लेता.
The last time he saw his children was when he took them to the shops for a packet of crisps. Then his wife received a phone call. It was urgent. Her mother was sick and dying. She had to rush to the bedside. It was a lie. Nargis's family disapproved of her marriage to a mere driver, and they were luring her into a trap. When Nargis didn't come home, her husband went back to driving a minibus to distract himself from the worry. His passengers saw photographs of his murdered family in the newspapers as he was driving. He didn't have a clue that the family they were telling him about was his.
एक दूसरे को बता रहे थे कि ये तस्वीरें देखो कितने अच्छे प्यारे, पता नहीं ये कौन बदकिस्मत होंगे. तो मैंने यूं उनके पीछे देखा, मैंने कहा पता नहीं कौन होगा. मैंने देखा है लेकिन मैंने उनको नहीं पहचाना क्योंकि उनके शक्लें इतने ख़राब हुए थे.
Nargis was murdered near her hometown of Mardan. It looked like a so-called honour killing, and her family were the prime suspects. But instead of seeking justice, Pakistani police arrested Ehtisham and his 2 brothers, who say they were tortured for 4 months.
मेरे भाइयों जो बड़े को पकड़े थे ना पुलिस वालों ने, उनको कहा भी था कि तुम लोग सिर्फ इतना कहो तुमने नहीं किया, हमें पता है कि कत्ल ये तुम लोगों ने नहीं किया, ऐसे चों ने कहा था. सिर्फ हमें इतना बता दो, तुम बयान अपने भाई के ख़िलाफ़, एहतिशाम के ख़िलाफ़ बयान दे दो कि ये कत्ल उसने किया है. उनको पीछे कमर पे मारा गया है चमड़े से, फिर यहाँ तलवों से मारा गया है. उनके साथ बहुत ज़्यादा बुरा किया है, जो मैंने कभी भी भाइयों के, जब मेरे भाइयों का तो कभी लड़ाई भी नहीं हुई, लेकिन जब अगर किसी ने कोई गाली भी दी है ना तो मुझे बहुत बुरा लगा है, बहुत ज़्यादा बुरा है.
Last year, this court released Ehtisham and his brothers after a judge agreed they had been framed. His dead wife's own mother is now on trial along with her brother, uncle and aunt. But her husband fears the family have paid bribes so that the case will never be heard. It's almost a year since the murders now, yet there have been no funerals. Ehtisham is still looking for the bodies of his family. At the local cemetery, he can find no graves with their names on. But the gravedigger does remember a hasty burial and how he dug a hole for a mutilated woman and 2 small children, right here. Ehtisham pulls back the grass by hand. He has found his adored wife Nargis, his baby girl Alicia, and his little boy Cheyenne. He uses a simple brick to mark the spot where he says his wife's family covered up their terrible crime. Ehtisham wants a moment alone, but it's too noisy here to think. This is no place to reflect on the murder of his wife or of his children hurled from a rooftop in front of her. Can you remember how you felt at that moment when you were clearing the grass of this unmarked grave?
उसको अभी तक मैंने ठीक नहीं कराया क्योंकि मुझे यकीन ही नहीं हो रहा कि ये वो है या नहीं है, लेकिन वो कह रहा था कि ये है, ये वो लड़की है जिसको ज़बह किया था, इस तरह इसको मारा गया है, ये वो बच्ची है जिसके जिस्म पे चुरियों कुल्हाड़ियों के निशान थे, ये वो लड़का है जिसके ऊपर निशान थे। लेकिन मैंने जब उनको कफन में नहीं देखा तो मुझे अभी यकीन ही नहीं हो रहा कि वो मेरे बच्चों के, मेरी वाइफ के कब्र।
Ehtisham told me his wife had been killed because she had disgraced her rich family by marrying a poor man like him. He carries photocopies of her letters, over 70 of them, full of the desperation of forbidden love.
I love you very, 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 very much. I miss you. I miss you very much, all the night and day. Bye.
Back in his old home, this was the moment he dreaded most, sorting through his children's abandoned toys. In a neighbourhood now too painful to stay long.
वो दुकान जिस पे मेरे बच्चे आते जाते थे, उधर से चलना फिरना बहुत मुश्किल होता है। उस गलियों में मेरे बच्चे खेलते थे बहुत ज़्यादा।
And he's talking to me, he says, because it's his only hope of getting his family's killers jailed.
मुझे अपना फिक्र नहीं है कि मुझे मार देंगे, बस सिर्फ मेरे बच्चों को, कातिलों को सज़ा मिल जाए ताकि कोई और इस तरह ना हो मेरी तरह, जिस तरह मेरी ज़िंदगी बर्बाद हुई है, मेरे बच्चे, मेरी बीवी मारे गए।
Jonathan Rugman, Channel 4 News, Pakistan.